Athletics Now presents Athletics World Weekly. In this edition of Athletics World Weekly, Johan Blake continues his sprinting dominance while Aries Merritt moves to the hurdles forefront, while Christophe Lemature breaks new barriers. Mo Farah delights the hometown crowd as Sally Pearson faces new challenges for hurdle supremacy. Lavinier vaults to the summit, and Shantae Lowe jumps into a dancing frenzy. And Usain Bolt troubles on and off the track, but still looking good as he prepares for an Olympic double. And a look back at 5,000 meter and steeplechase titan Moses Kiptanui and Christopher Kosgei. All this and much more on Athletics World Weekly. Monaco Monte Carlo is the city of destination for our first review of this past week in athletics. Stade Louis II, named after Louis II, grandfather of the current Prince of Monaco, who is in attendance today. Merritt and world champion Jason Richardson are quite the duo the USA has in store for London. Also in the mix is USA record holder and 08 Olympic bronze medalist David Oliver. Oliver has been having a terrible season. He didn't make the Olympic team this year and has been trying to race himself back into shape over the season. Meanwhile, to his right, new Russian champion Sergei Shabenkov has been having a great season, is on the ascent while Oliver is on the descent. A rocket start from the entire field with Oliver hitting the hurdle and Merritt gaining a step on the rest. Oliver fades as Richardson gains, but loses grace as he hits hurdles. Merritt flawless as the Russian Shabenkov zooms in to take third as Richardson holds on to second while Merritt the Machine ditches up a 12.94, fastest time of the season and personal best. This win coming off the London victory really signifies Merritt as the man of the moment in the hurdles category. A few weeks ago, it was Liu Shang, in large part to his earliest season's victories in Shanghai, where he ran this 12.97, and of course in Eugene, where he annihilated Merritt in a wind-aided 12.87. But for now, Merritt seems to be Mr. Consistency. For many, the men's 1500 meters proved to be the firework event of the evening, as Bel Kiprop, defending Olympic champion and world champion, was on hand to show off his amazing fitness level on the eve of the Olympic Games. The runner-up in the last Olympics, New Zealand's Nick Willis, was also on hand to fine-tune his engine. Running way behind the pace setters through the first 400 meters, which the pacemaker clocked a 52.93, which no one wanted to chase. The 800 split revealed a pedestrian 60-second lap, but this brought the overall race time into nearly a 21st century world-class legging of 152.93. By the final lap, Kiprop changed gears smoothly as he finessely lopped past his compatriot Nixon Chepseba and the rest of the field. But as Kiprop accelerated, so did Chepseba, as he made a dashing attempt to overtake Kiprop on the back stretch. But Kiprop had an answer and denied Chep the top step as Chep and company tucked it to second and held on for perhaps one more attack at Kiprop. That final advance was to happen on the home stretch, but Kiprop, as if finally tiring of the play, shifts into his penultimate gear to clearly underline his dominance at this distance. He strolls in with considerable gas in the tank to stamp his gold card with a 3:28.88, the fastest time since 2004 and the fifth fastest time in history. Chepseba, who was also headed for London, clocked a personal best 3:29.77. New Zealander Nick Metlis closed strongly to take third in 3:30.35. In the men's 800 meters race, no David Rudisha didn't spoil the race. Instead, it made it more interesting. As Rudisha casually assaults the 142 barrier in time trial fashion, we forget the formidable cast in tow. Monaco presented a look at the swirling cast of men capable of running 143 en masse. At the 400-meter split, which was a quick 49.55, the pack was still tight. However, just as they entered the backstretch, Leonard Kasencha of Kenya accelerated like a superstar. But this burst was short-lived as Abraham Rotich and company kept pace and eventually challenged his dominance entering the final bend. But Kasencha held off the Kenyan and the hard-charging American. That's new Olympian Dwayne Solomon in third. As Rotich and Solomon kept up the pressure, Kasencha began to struggle a bit. As Rotich slowly gained and passed Kasencha, taking the lead for good and gaining a smoking personal best time of 1:43.13. Kasencha's second and 1:43.40, while American Dwayne Solomon expresses a 1:43.44 pre-Olympic effort to bolster his confidence leading into the games. Number 4, Kevin Lopez of Spain sets a new Spanish record in 1:43.74. South Africa Caster Semenya has been having an up-and-down season with no major victories heading into the games. Monaco would see her continue that streak as Russian Yelena Kopanova unveiled her Olympic fitness to the world. Charting down the home stretch, Kopanova clocks 1:58.41 to outdistance African champion Fransaba of Burundi. Kopanova has run a 1:57.7 in the Russian championships earlier this season, so I would count on her to make the finals in London. The women's 800 meters is packed with sub-2-minute women this season. The race in the women's 3,000 meters didn't really start until the bell when Kenyan Sylvia Kibet upped the tempo and took the lead, but it wasn't enough to fend off up-and-coming two-time world junior champion Mercy Sharono, who took over with a half lap to go and never relented. Sharono, coming up off a close defeat in London, will take the win in 8:38.51 to the second place Kibet in 8:39.14. 2004 Olympic silver medalist Vadim Vasilevsky of Latvia has not been in the best of form and has struggled to regain his podium consistency of a few years ago. He put up this spirited spear toss of 81.90, but no elation was to be forthcoming from the 30-year-old spearwolf ace, as this would be registered a second-place effort, 10 meters off his personal best and only the fourth best throw of the competition, not even close to Ukraine's Alexandra Piantsia's first three throws. Meanwhile, the 27-year-old Piantsio, with one throw remaining, uses this final bid to underscore his dominance as well as increase his lead. This final throw of 82.85 meters would be his third throw over 82 meters, the only thrower to achieve that mark, giving him what I call a technical sweep of the podium placings. The Ukrainian national champion has a personal best of 86.12 meters, achieved in May of this season. Athletics it-girl Russian Yelena Isambayeva, making her outdoor Diamond League debut, is always the star attraction whenever she graces the stage, and tonight would not be an exception. The drama resulted in a world-leading vault. However, Isambayeva's part in the play, after missing this, her third attempt at 470, would be that of front-row spectator to Germany's Silke Spiegelberg's attempt at a new personal best and world-leading vault. Spiegelberg's clearance is the stuff of athletic dreams as she hits a personal best, win over a world champion, and set the season standard for the world. This was a stunning upset for Isambayeva, but an incredible night for new German national record holder Spiegelberg.
My jumps went on the wrong way, so I have to find out the mistake with my coach and take it away.
The men's 3,000-meter steeplechase was expected to be a sub-8-minute affair. Although fans were complaining about the early, somewhat slow tempo, race leader Paul Koech took matters into his own hands and injected a bit of drama and pace into the proceedings. Koech, the picture of out-front control, is the 2004 Olympic bronze medalist and has been left off every Kenyan Olympic and World Championship team since that time, despite his world best performances. His personal best is the third fastest steeplechase of all time. Koech came through the bell lap in a very respectable 7:02.08 with freshly minted World Junior Champion Cancelas Kipruto and the surprising figure of American Evan Jagger in tow. Koech out front seemed to be on control. However, the sprint phase of Kipruto was starting to pay dividends as the kid was gaining on the 31-year-old veteran and the lead was shrinking rapidly. It appeared that Koech would hold off the rookie and one final burst would determine the outcome, but that gear was in the hands of youth today as Kipruto struggles past Koech to cruise home to the biggest win of his rookie pro career in 8:03.49. A huge breakthrough for American Evan Jagger, banging 8:06.81, a United States national record. The Athletics World Weekly Flashback remembers the classic 1995 clash between veteran and world record holder Moses Kiptanui and newcomer Christopher Kosgei.
Now, it was in this stadium 4 years ago that this young man crashed onto the world scene in the steeplechase. Moses Kiptanui then was the World Junior 1500 meters champion, a title he'd won in 1990. Since then, he's ruled the roost at the steeplechase. He's broken world records for the 3,000 meters, the 5,000 meters, of course. He shattered that record just a couple of weeks back in Rome. He's lying third at the moment here, but he's not going to have things all his own way, despite striking out by himself after the early stages of this steeplechase. Coming up to the first kilometer here. And there's a young man in that race, a Kenyan named Christopher Kosgei. He's running barefoot, and he's going to provide quite a challenge for Moses Kiptanui. Still running third at this juncture, Kiptanui. A race absolutely dominated by Kenyans, but for their Olympic boycotts in 1976 and 1980, it's quite feasible that the Kenyans would have won the steeplechase title every year since 1972, when the man who started it all, Kipchoge Keino, won in Munich. That followed, of course, his 1,500 meters victory in Mexico in 1968. Well clear at the moment, Kiptanui. This is his second race of the season outside of Kenya after he went back there for the Kenyan Championships. He comes up to the bell just outside 7 minutes, and he looks well en route at this point to breaking his own world record for the steeplechase, which stands at just outside 8 minutes and 2 seconds. But that man running barefoot, 172, Chris Kosgei, has got some other thoughts about that victory. Second in the African Championships in 1993. He's barely run outside of Kenya, Kosgei. As you can see, Kiptanui, the world record holder, still got a lead of some 20 to 25 meters at that point. Nobody else in the frame as Kiptanui comes up to the water jump for the final time. But he's beginning to slack off. He had a bit of a stomach upset just before that Rome Grand Prix meet where he shattered the 5,000 meters world record. He went back home to Kenya to train, duly qualified for the steeplechase for Gothenburg. But look at this for a finale. Barefoot Christopher Kosgei, personal best time 8:18 up to this race. He's absolutely going to shatter that 8:06.87, and into the bargain, he beats the world record holder and the double world champion at this distance. A great victory and another new Kenyan on the scene, Chris Kosgei. 8:06.67 steeplechase in bare feet.
London, England, one of the great cities of athletics, was the scene of a brisk and wet Crystal Palace Stadium for this year's Samsung Diamond League meeting. For many, the performance of the event featured the men's 110-meter hurdles. The anticipated three-man showdown was dashed when Liu Chang pulled out, leaving Aries Mare to face world champion Jason Richards in a sensational head-to-head matchup.
Set.
Merritt in blue and Richardson 3, along with Posey in 1, get fantastic starts, but Merritt hit hurdle 3 and loses a step. But Richardson, feeling the heat, knocks down hurdle 5 and 6, dooming his chances of a win, as Merritt flames this 12.93 on a wet, cold British evening to post the world leading time and fastest time ever recorded in the UK. Some feat considering it's the home of former world record holder Colin Jackson. Too bad about Lou and the reported back problems aggravated by the dreary weather conditions. It's England. Lou ran under similar conditions in Shanghai when he ran this 12.97, and he looked great then, so maybe it's a case of nerves. But China's biggest track superstar is still the hurdles personality and fan favorite. But no matter how you look at it, Merritt, not Lou, is now the favorite going into the London game. Sally Pearson, women's hurdles queen, was the key protagonist in a clash that proved as exciting as the men's race over the barriers. After a close semifinal victory against American Kelly Wells, Pearson was well on pace to continue her 8th race winning streak in the lows. Pearson in lane 4 got her usual blistering start. However, Jeannie Davis in 3 is right at Pearson's side. Davis starts to fade, however Wells in lane 5 is a late race surge and catches a flat-out Pearson at the line in 12.57, third fastest time of the year. Mildly stunning is this reversal of fortune in the lows, as the replay shows Pearson being dropped by the American at the tape. Wells has been vigilantly nipping at Pearson's strip all season, so this victory has got to be sweet. The men's 200 meters was short on the usual Jamaican-American superstar influence, but French sensation Christopher Lemaitre in lane 6 has been showing everyone that France can produce plenty of speed as well. Coming off the turn, Lemaitre was slightly ahead of the cast, but his overall straightaway speed quickly launched him ahead of everyone except Dutch sprinter Chandri Martina. Lemaitre snatches this 19.91 to record the second sub-20-second race of his career. Considering the conditions clammy and cold, one has to figure that Lemaitre has a good shot at gaining the first 200-meter Olympic medal for France in history. Mo Farah was on hand to give the British crowds one last look before his anticipated 5 and 10,000 meter double attempts to clinch an Olympic distance medal. Mo had the Crystal Palace crowd on its feet with a stunning finish as he sprinted a 1:53.5 last 800 meters to underline his mighty Mo kick, leaving the trailing pack behind to take the win in a comfortable world-class 13:06.04. Mo has the weight of the United Kingdom on his back as he attempts to bring home gold, something no individual Brit has done in 104 years in a track race over 1,500 meters. Mariam Youssef Jamal, two-time former world champion of Bahrain, along with reigning world champion Jenny Simpson, topped out a classy but tactical women's 1,500 meter race. First lap splits of 65 seconds, followed by an even slower second lap split, left the pacemaker out front alone, while the peloton shuffled along at a pedestrian pace, represented by a 70-second lap, resulting in a 2:15.800 meters. Jamal, no longer content to twaddle about, grabbed the pace from the front and turned on the world-class form as the former Ethiopian Zenabek Tola was now being challenged by the American Morgan Usini, who along with Simpson and Shannon Roberry make up the United States 1,500 meter team. But that was moot to Jamal, who handled the attack from Usini and Britt and Pierce with ease. Down the final stretch, it was obvious that Jamal is on another level as she leaves the pack behind at will, strutting her stuff through the final meters to record this 4:06.78. Not the fastest time, but Jamal will take the win. Simpson was second at 4:06.76 with Anna Pierce third, 4:08.06. Shantae Lowe was on a high as she cleared this 2-meter or 6'5" jump. The anticipated matchup between Anna Chikharova and Lowe was a fizzle, as Lowe was the only woman to clear 2 meters as she takes the win and delights the crowd with this bedazzling dance move. She definitely gets the gold medal for after jump dancing. Jamaican 100-meter world champion Johan Blake is the man who has all the sprint headlines now. Blake was on hand to display his current dominance as well as his status as the man to beat in London. He practically cruised to this 9.8 by 100 meters to highlight the Spitzen Athletic meeting in Lucerne. and put glaring emphasis on his probable Olympic gold medal. But what of Bolt? Ever since Blake's stunning double victory over the reigning Olympic champion and world record holder at the Jamaica Championships, Bolt has suddenly come under increased scrutiny. His problems seem to have started with this slow 10.02 effort earlier this season in the Czech Republic. It was the slowest time of his 30-race professional career. But a short time later, the old Bolt returned as this dominant performance in Rome demonstrated a few days later, a season's best 9.76.
Bolt's gonna win it.
But after that came the car crash, which happened after a late night party in June. Toss in the mix of his lifestyle, which now features private jets, a line of clothing, headphones, magazine covers, and the Jamaican media frenzy over his model girlfriend, especially the highly controversial Czech girlfriend, who reportedly is no longer an idol. The great Bolt is shunning his girlfriend as he prepares for the games. Whatever happens, it's going to be a fantastic show.